I'm here with Richard James from Lucerne. Lucerne has been a partner of mine for many, many years. I met Rich several years ago. It's probably been about 6 or 7 years ago now, and really enjoyed his product. I thought it was a great idea. Being from a European style of feeding a horse, I grew up in Australia where we fed chaff, and all chaff is just a cut up hay, and it's bagged. And I believe when I went to Rich, he said his father went to Europe and started a very, very similar feeding style system of kind of a bagged hay. And this is Richard James from Lucerne. Rich, thanks for being down here at the ranch.
Good to see you again, Chris.
You bet. You know, we've had a great partnership for many years, and I just wanted to make sure I put a face with the name today to all my customers. And I know a lot of my customers feed the bagged hay that we've come up with. Tell the audience just a little bit about the idea and the concept of Lucerne and the great family planning and idea that you guys have come up with.
My father went to Europe with a delegation looking for business opportunities to bring back to the United States and create jobs for people in an economically disadvantaged area. He found this company in England called Dengie, and what they were doing was they were growing alfalfa and various grains and dehydrated the alfalfa and blended it with molasses and other substances. So my dad started the business in the early 90s, and since then the business model's been the same. We grow everything that we produce and manufacture. So we take care of the fields, apply the fertilizers, all the inputs, control it ourselves. We harvest it with our farm equipment. We bring it in, dehydrate it, so that again separates us from the others.
So tell me about the dehydration. That's always amazed me, and I know that people often ask, well, if I get hay in a bag, especially alfalfa or Timothy, and this is what the majority of our hay is. One is Timothy, and Timothy you cannot buy a lot in the West. And if you do, it's probably triple or double the amount on the price as far as all the rest of the hay. And one is because it's very, very popular on the racetrack, and horses love it. And so being in a bagged hay, the lifespan and also not getting mold or mildew or anything in that bag is because you dehydrate it.
Correct. So picture, if you will, a machine kind of like your clothes dryer in your house, tumbling action, a lot of heat and wind. And what we can do is we can harvest it wet, 40–50%, and we'll put it through the dryer and it tumbles with the heat, and we get it down to about 8%. So it's dry. There are no mold spores, taking care of it.
Does it still have the value, the nutritional value in it?
As a matter of fact, it's got more because it's kind of locked in. The sun hasn't bleached it out. So okay. As hay sits out in the field and the sun bakes it over this long, slow process, you end up losing a few more nutrients than you would with a flash drying that happens real fast.
Yeah. You know, Rich, we started this several years ago with this bagged hay, and you turn around and every company's got bagged hay now. I don't know if it's the trend that we started or...
Chris, I would say that the way that you have educated your followers, people that are big fans of Chris Cox, and they listen to you and they know that you're going to use a product that you believe in, and the way that you've been able to educate them on how to utilize a bag chopped forage in their horse's diet has been key, and a lot of people have picked up on this. So it's certainly, I believe that this relationship has created an awareness like we didn't plan on. I think certainly a lot of people are fans of it now.
Well, one of the good things that, I know there's a large corporate companies that are doing this bagged hay now, but one of the good things that I like about your product and is that you own your own ground, you grow your own hay, you fertilize it, you know exactly what product that you have. It's not, you don't go off and contract other hay and other companies, and you're just not a middleman. You are from the beginning to the end. Absolutely. And that's what I like about it. You know the quality, you see it bagged, you see it grown, you see it cut, you see it bagged, and you're not a big corporate company. Your father, unfortunately, passed away in a car accident here several years ago, going to a horse expo to be at the booth. Would never forget that day. And you and your mother, and you've got a son now and 2 sons now that are part of the company, and you guys really work hard at putting this good product together. And you can pick up the owner and call the owner directly, and that's Rich, and get something done. So,
well, the woman that you talked to in Sacramento this past weekend, she said she was amazed the fact that you pulled out your phone and you called me directly. She couldn't believe that's how fast it happened. So I spoke with her this morning, very satisfied, out in California, wants to make sure she can continue to get the product, which is super. So I think our family business is similar to your business. You have a core group of people. I mean, we have 15 people that are making it happen. You can jump on the phone and speak with the owner of the company. I could call my mom right there and she's got her finger on the pulse of what's happening. Just as you here with your wife, you've got a family business. You're holding your daughter's hand right now. So we're tied in close. It makes it special what it is. It makes the fact that you're using the product and you're a real person.
Well, I think today with everything, the way things are going, Rich, everything's so corporate and the companies are so large, the family businesses are being killed. And
it creates some challenges, doesn't it?
It does, it really does, and that's what we've got to fight for as Americans. Nothing against overseas companies or anything like that, but it's so nice to know that, you know, good whole American families and good farmers and ranchers are still alive, even though they're, you know, the government's making it hard on us every day to keep our businesses going. But it's so nice for you and your mother and your family to be able to put out a good product, and I know it's really helped my horses over the years. The thing for me is that living in the area that I do in Texas, Rich, we grow some coastal in this area, but not consistently all the time. It's only seasonal, just like anywhere else. And to be able to get some good hay is up and down. You know, I buy hay and it could be really good hay, and over the phone, you buy it over the phone, you get a truckload here. Some of it you're not happy with, some of it, you know, it doesn't look like, you know, what you thought it would look like.
Yeah,
it's just up and down, and I got sick and tired of that. And the storage, in storing that hay, is just horrendous. And with Lucerne, I can load it just like this weekend. We went to California, we loaded it on the truck and got there. It's the same hay I feed at home, and it's easy to ship. It's just, everything is just, it's just so much more convenient, and I'm getting the same product all the time. That's what I like about it. The thing about with the hay that you put out, with the Lucerne, the way it's chopped and it's dried, with Timothy being in there, is that they graze on it all day long. That's what I like about it. You know, and really a horse is designed to be a grazing animal, and they graze on it. And forage is a very, very important part of a horse's diet. We've taken the big pastures and the grasses away from a lot of our horses, especially our performance horses that we keep inside. And but if you can have something for them to graze on, like the Lucerne, and by the veterinarian standards, it is forage because it's long enough. The stem is long enough to where it gets in its digestive system. It's just like forage, it's just like a grass, just like I'm eating in a pasture. You've got to be careful of getting it too fine, too short, because then it just becomes a feed and not forage.
Sure.
So that's what I've learned, and so the bag feed from Lucerne, and especially the ones that we've come up with, is the Cox blend. It has been really a great combination. Tell the audience a little bit about the blend that we've put together.
Sure. I remember when we started this relationship, we sent you bags of everything that we made. And I remember when I first visited here, you were feeding alfalfa. And I remember we walked past the paddock and there was a young foal standing in the alfalfa, kind of using it as bedding at the time. And I remember you made a comment about, look at, you know, I'm buying the best alfalfa in the country, I'm bringing it in here, and that's what happens to it. But we got away from using straight alfalfa, lowered the protein level just a little bit by making it a 50-50 blend, provided a little bit more energy with the soybean oil, good for their coats, good for their health, good for their energy level, and we put a flavoring in there. And as you recall, we sent you a bunch of samples. We wanted something that the horses were attracted to other than the smell of molasses.
Right. So that's what we came up with. We want to stay away from molasses, and tell the audience a little bit why we did that.
Well, I know it was important down here with this heat. I remember one reaction was it brought in a lot of flies.
It did.
And this heat is obviously different than the heat that I would have in my home state of Maine.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful summer day here. and it's early in the morning. So a big difference. So we don't have that fly issue. And certainly the molasses makes it soft. It makes it more palatable. It's wonderful.
You know, it's wonderful to pick it up and smell it, and great, but
yes,
there's so much sugar in there that you're going to have at certain times of the year. You know, if you've got a horse that is have a little bit of tendency to founder or Cushing's disease,
certainly
it's going to bring that on a little bit more. So we like it without the sugar in it, without the alfalfa, without the molasses, and it works all the way around. And so we came up with this bag forage, and it's been very successful. I know a lot of people say, Rich, they say that they can't get it in their area. Talk to the audience a little bit about what you could do about that.
Certainly. We have on the east side of the Mississippi River, we have a great distribution chain. Anybody has a store that they trade with, that store can get it.
Sure.
On the west side of the Mississippi, it's a little bit different. We're looking to expand a little bit more. We can deal directly with stores. Some of our distributors are working their way westward. Yep. So if somebody has a desire to learn about the product, use the product, we have a toll-free number. We ask people to call in.
Put it up on the bottom of the screen right
That's
now.
Perfect. So if people call in, they're going to speak with one of the ladies in the office or myself, and we're going to work with them or their store. And if they want the product, it's going to be no problem to get the product directly to them. And we've been doing that a lot here lately. Got somebody that watched your show, a faithful follower up in, he was in Montana. So we got a new store up in Montana. We got somebody out in California that watched the show and had to get the product. So we've been able to take care of these people.
You know what's really good for me about it is that I bring in a lot of yearling calves and work them on my horses, and I give them some of that Lucerne just to kind of get them started off with. And I tell you what, that's been a blessing for us, because to go around and buy rolls of hay and to lose a lot of that feed. Here we can feed it in tubs, and they're getting the best out of it, and it gets them on the grain, and it's been really, really good for us, not only just for their horses, but with some of our calves, you know, our yearling heifers.
Sure.
So,
with your horses, the way you're feeding, do you think your horses get 5 pounds a day?
You know what, I tell you what we do, Rich, is we look at just like grass. We give it to them, and we let them graze through it, and if we feel like they're getting done with it fairly early, we'll give them a little bit more. This is something that we don't really look at just like a feed, more like grazing. And the good thing about the Lucerne, and I don't know if it's just my blend that we come up with, is that they're not going to just go ahead and gorge it right away. They're going to pick through it, and what it does is it keeps their attention on something else instead of chewing on the stalls or getting bored or whatever. It keeps their mind occupied, and it's good for them. And so that's what we kind of do. It's just like it's there as kind of free pickings, and we kind of monitor those horses, and some eat a lot more and some don't eat as much, just depending on the animal. You know, we all know that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's great feedback, and I know that there has been a learning curve with it, but you're hitting the nail on the head. I'm not a horse guy, I'll admit it. I'm a hay guy. With my relationship through you and watching you have success at the Road to the Horse, I've certainly been around it and watched it in action. And you know, you're a real guy, and you're a real guy feeding real horses, and you've gone through the ropes just like a lot of the people that watch your show have, and they're figuring it out as they go along, and you're a humble enough guy to take that approach, and you're having success with what you're doing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate doing business with somebody like yourself that is honest and have good values. You got a good company, and you know, in the end, it'll all come through. And I think that you put out a good product, and we've been very, very satisfied with it over the years, and we appreciate the partnership.
Well, we're having fun doing it.
We are.
Yeah, really that's great.
We really are. So, if you're interested in Lucerne or the Chris Cox blend of Lucerne, please call the toll-free number and see if there's a store near you that provides it. If you'd like to be able to get some samples, call anyhow. I believe that we're around different parts of the country, as well as Rich, give you some samples to check out, see if you and your horse will get along with it. So, hey, thanks for watching this week. This is a tip on feeding your horse, brought to you from Lucerne Farms.